Today we're going to talk about the spice or herb known as cinnamon. Now, not only can you sprinkle it on your hot chocolate or use it in baking, you can also make a tea out of it, and that's usually by having the cinnamon bark and then boiling it into a tea. Now, I'd like to remind you, I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not saying that cinnamon is going to cure X, Y, and Z. I'm saying that cinnamon may assist with certain ailments of the mind, body, and soul, and also going to share some cultural stories associated with cinnamon. Now, when we look at the physical attributes of the body that cinnamon may assist with, looking at things at how it can be quite anti-fungal and antibacterial. It can also help with your blood sugar levels, and it can also lower your LDL cholesterol. So this spice can be good for those that have heart conditions. Obviously, they probably wish to check with their guidance on that. And now it can also be quite good for your immunity and your digestion. And as many of you are probably aware, there's quite a huge link between your immunity and your digestion. If one is not operating well, then the other one is also usually not operating very well. So having both of those functioning to its optimal ability is usually going to assist you for having better health and vitality. And cinnamon can help with that. Now, when we're looking at the emotional and mental benefits that cinnamon can assist with, we're looking at how it can often soothe emotional tension, it can reduce anxiety and overwhelm. It can also help you shift out of feelings of depression and sadness, as well as also invoking feelings of safety and nurturing as well. Now, when we look at the metaphysical attributes that cinnamon can assist with, we're looking at things like protection, abundance, prosperity, amplification, passion, and also grounding as well. Now, I want to have a look at some of the cultural associations with cinnamon as well. First off, starting with Egypt. And it was often used in embalming practices. Now, a bit of sharing here. When I was I must be about 6 or 7, I remember having this deep fascination with Egypt, and not just the ancient architecture, but also just the fascination of such practices that they would go through for the inevitable process of death. I found it so fascinating, and probably also, growing up in a culture in which death is usually projected on as something scary, and it's not talked about, and it's uncomfortable for people to talk about. I found, just reading such textbooks and picture books of Egypt and looking at all their mummies and the items, and there's such a it seemed, for me as a girl, to be such an extreme process compared to how the society in which I was living in prepares for death. So interesting. And in particular times in ancient Egypt, cinnamon was often even revered as more valuable than gold, which I find super interesting as well. And they would often use it as a bridge between what we might consider the physical realm and also the more ethereal realm as well. Now, when we're looking in Ayurvedic medicine or Ayurvedic tradition, predominantly in India, right, we're looking at how it can often balance the doshas of Kapha and Vata. And they would often make it as like a heart and blood tonic, as well as also an immune builder. So it's interesting, right? There's already these kind of cultural associations of what this herb can assist with in the physical ailments, and then also the more modernity science is also going, hey, look, when we've done studies on cinnamon, it actually it does seem to help with this, that, and the other. So I always find things like that to be quite interesting. So when we're looking at the Middle East and some of the cultural associations with cinnamon there, they would often use it in tea blends for warmth and for hospitality. When you have a guest over, you have family visiting, you would often make them a tea that's blended with cinnamon as well. And, in the Islamic religion, cinnamon is often also associated as being quite a prophetic medicine. And we can see how in modernity society today, we can almost forget the sacredness or the importance of such a food, such a plant. We put it in this and put it in that, and it adds a bit of flavour here and there. But there were particular cultures and particular times where these things that because of globalization and all these other attributes of how it's all come to be. I'm not going into detail of that. For those of quite substantial privilege, we can just go to a shop and just find it there, and it's there every single day of the year, nearly, And when we're looking at Chinese medicine, it would often be used with warming the body's yang energy. So in Chinese medicine, they would often, be looking at the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine attributes of the body, obviously working with the meridian lines as well. And they would also find that if someone was quite cold, their circulatory system was quite stagnant or wasn't functioning very well, cinnamon would be used to warm up that circulatory system to actually create more warmth and more fire within the body in that way, and to move what they would call the qi, the life force energy, throughout the body in a much more fluid way as well. Now, when we look at European folklore, we can see that cinnamon was often used to make incense out of, and they would burn it, right? So, and they would use it for things like protection, love, luck as well. They would use it in money spells and abundance rituals, and they would even wear it, so not always necessarily consume it. And this is a lovely little reminder of you don't always necessarily have to actually put something in your mouth, digest it through the body and excrete it out of the body to work with it. If there's a particular plant that you want to work with, but maybe you don't feel like it's a good place for your body to be working with it, maybe you even have an allergy to it, then you can still work with the elements of and attributes of herbs through visualization, through art, whether you create that art yourself or you contribute to someone else's art, or if it's not an allergy, you may be able to wear it. Maybe you've got a pocket or a little pouch. You can keep some of these things like on you, on your person, as we may say, but not necessarily ingesting it. Yes. If you have a particular herb or spice that you are like, I haven't seen you talk about this, Melissa, like, can you do a video on it? Let me know. If you've got any questions about cinnamon, put that in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next vlog.